Hi, I'm going to read a story today called The Story of Ferdinand. Ferdinand is another long name. I bet you can find a word that you know up here, T-H-E. What word is that? The story, It starts with an S-T, right? Story of Ferdinand. And here's Ferdinand. Can you tell what kind of animal he is? He's a bull. Generally, bulls are not very friendly or very nice. They have a bad reputation, and that means that people think they're pretty mean. This is the story of Ferdinand. Once upon a time in Spain, that's a country in Europe, far away from here across the ocean, there was a little bull, and his name was Ferdinand. All the other little bulls he lived with would run and jump and butt their heads together. But not Ferdinand. He liked to sit just quietly and smell the flowers. He had a favorite spot out in the pasture under a cork tree. It was his favorite tree, and he would sit in its shade all day and smell the flowers. He seems pretty gentle for a bull. Sometimes his mother, who was a cow, would worry about him. She was afraid he would be lonesome all by himself. "Why don't you run and play with the other little bulls and skip and butt your head," she would say. But Ferdinand would shake his head. "I like it better here where I can sit just quietly and smell the flowers." His mother saw that he was not lonesome, and because she was an understanding mother, even though she was a cow, she let him just sit there and be happy. So sometimes when you're alone, you might not be lonesome or lonely. You might like just being by yourself, and that's okay. Sometimes when you're alone, you might feel lonely and lonesome. And that's not as okay. Then you should go and find somebody else to be with so you don't feel sad. As the years went by, Ferdinand grew and grew until he was very big and strong. Look, that's where they're measuring how tall he's getting. Do any of you have something like that in your home where you stand against a wall and somebody marks with a little pen or a pencil how tall you are, and then you can watch as you grow? All the other bulls who had grown up with him in the same pasture would fight each other all day. They would butt each other and stick each other with their horns. What they wanted most of all was to be picked to fight at the bullfights in Madrid. Madrid is the city in Spain where they're very known for having bullfights. But not Ferdinand. He still liked to just sit quietly under the cork tree and smell the flowers. One day, 5 men came in very funny hats to pick the biggest, fastest, roughest bull to fight in the bullfights in Madrid. All the other bulls ran around snorting and butting, leaping and jumping so the men would think that they were very, very strong and fierce and pick them. Ferdinand knew that they wouldn't pick him, and he didn't care, so he went out to his favorite cork tree to sit down. He didn't look where he was sitting, and instead of sitting on the nice cool grass in the shade, he sat on a bumblebee. Well, if you were a bumblebee and a bull sat on you, what would you do? You would sting him, of course, and that is just what this bee did to Ferdinand. Look at his face. He looks pretty surprised. Wow, did it hurt? Ferdinand jumped up with a snort. He ran around puffing and snorting, butting and pawing the ground as if he were crazy. If you've ever been stung by a bee, you know it really hurts. The 5 men saw him and they all shouted with joy. Here was the largest and fiercest bull of all, just the one for the bullfight in Madrid. So they took him away for the bullfight day in a cart. What a day it was. Flags were flying, bands were playing, and all the lovely ladies had flowers in their hair. They had a parade into the bull ring. First came the banderilleros with long, sharp pins with ribbons on them to stick in the bull and make him mad. Next came the picadores, who rode skinny horses, and they had long spears to stick in the bull and make him madder. Then came the matador, the proudest of all. He thought he was very handsome and bowed to the ladies. He had a red cape and a sword and was supposed to stick the bull last of all. So he is the bullfighter. He's supposed to fight against the bull. He has a red cape because they say when bulls see red, they get very mad and they go charging. So he uses a red cape to make the bull mad. Then came the bull, and you know who that was, don't you? Ferdinand. See him peeking out over here? They called him Ferdinand the Fierce, and all the banderilleros were afraid of him, and the picadores were afraid of him, and the matador was scared stiff. Ferdinand ran to the middle of the ring, and everyone shouted and clapped because they thought he was going to fight fiercely and butt and snort and stick his horns around. But not Ferdinand. When he got to the middle of the ring, he saw the flowers and all the lovely ladies' hair, and he just sat down quietly and smelled. He wouldn't fight and be fierce no matter what they did. He just sat and smelled. And the banderilleros were mad, and the picadores were madder, and the matador was so mad he cried because he couldn't show off with his cape and sword. So they had to take Ferdinand home. And for all I know, he is sitting there still under his favorite cork tree, smelling the flowers just quietly. Can you read the last line with me? It says, he is very happy. Oh, I'm glad that Ferdinand is happy. You want to read it with me one more time? Let's read it together. Ready? He is very happy. Well, I hope you're very happy too, and I hope you like the story of Ferdinand. See you next time. Bye-bye.